Hi there, we're going to take a look at equation of a line. This lesson, we're going to practice two skills. First up, we're going to change equations to use the format y is equal to mx plus b. That's our linear equation. And then we're going to break that equation apart and understand m and b and the parts of them, what they mean, and where they're located in that linear equation. Let's start with the student example on page 379. We're going to change these equations into the form y is equal to mx plus b. We're basically going to manipulate these equations, isolating y as we learned in our equations unit. For a, we have x plus y plus 5 is equal to 0. We need to move out the terms to isolate y. So we can decide what we want to move first. I'm going to move the 5 away first by subtracting it to both sides of the equation. That will leave me with x plus y is equal to 0 minus 5, which is negative 5. Now I'm ready to isolate y. I have x, and so I'm going to subtract x. X minus x will cancel, and I can subtract x to the other side. So that leaves me with y isolated. Now I have negative 5 minus x. We know that our equation of a line has x coming first, so we're going to have negative x minus 5. Y is equal to negative x minus 5. For b, we want to isolate our term with y, so we have 4y plus 8x is equal to negative 8. First, we can subtract the 8x from both sides. Canceling, that leaves us with 4y is equal to, and I'm going to put that x term first, negative 8x minus 8. And now we're going to isolate y through division. We're going to divide by 4. We're going to divide by 4. At this point, if you remember back to polynomials, when we divide, we need to divide both terms by the denominator. So we are going to divide negative 8x divided by 4, which will give us negative 2x. And we're going to divide negative 8 divided by 4, which is going to be negative 2. So our equation in the linear format is y is equal to negative 2x minus 2. When we have our master equation, y is equal to mx plus b, we need to understand what those variables mean in terms of the m and the b. And I think we've gotten there, but it's good to review that the m is our slope of the line. And we can see that we're going to have a negative slope. We see a downward trend in this graph. And then the b is our y-intercept. That's where this line will cross the y-axis. So when we take a look at creating an equation from what we see here, we can calculate both the slope and we can see the y-intercept and we can build our equation. So we're going to build it with y is equal to, and as we learned, our slope is the change in y over the change in x. We're going to have subtraction. So we're going to subtract our y values, 6 minus 2, over subtracting our x values, 0 minus 4, and that will give us our slope. 6 minus 2 is 4, 0 minus 4 is negative 4, 4 over negative 4 is negative 1. So we can start to build our equation. We have a negative 1 slope, and then our y-intercept is the point where we cross the y-axis. This is at 6 for y. We see that the coordinates are 0, 6. 0 for x, positive 6 for y. Our b, our y-intercept, is a positive 6. So the equation for this line is y is equal to negative x plus 6, or as I have written, y is equal to negative 1x plus 6. It's up to you if you want to show the coefficient or take it away. So at this point in the unit, it's really good for us to notice that all of these equations that we've been dealing with, they can either be placed in this format or read in this format to understand where to find the slope and where to find the y-intercept. So when they're asking us to find the values of m and b, we don't have to do anything to a. It's in the correct format. We simply have to take a look at it. We see that multiplying to x is a -2. So that means the slope of this line is -2. It's going to be a downward slope. And the difference between y and x is -2. And then the b, or y-intercept, this line is going to cross y at 3, at a +3. And so the b is 3. When you look at question B, y is equal to -5 plus x, it's a little bit switched around, but it's almost there. We can just switch it to put our x term first and then the -5 second. So now we have the correct format that we like. Now we can see that the slope here, we don't have a coefficient, so that means it's a 1. So this is going to be a positive or rising slope. And that the y-intercept, where it's going to cross y, is going to be down in the -5. So our b, or y-intercept, is -5. So to put that all together, we have a line here, we have an equation of the line here. Y is equal to 3x minus 2. So when they ask us what the slope of the line is, because we have the equation, we don't have to calculate. We can find it in its location as the coefficient to x. The slope of the line is 3. What is the value of the y-intercept? When we take a look, we can see the y-intercept down here, but no numbers. But we have it in our equation. We see that it's a -2, and we can see that's reflected in our graph. It's down here in the bottom quadrants. So our y-intercept is -2 or -2. When they ask us to state the coordinates of point A, we can do that because we know the y-intercept. We see that we can start on the point of origin. We're not sliding left or right on x, which means x is at 0, and our y is -2. So if they ask you to find the slope of a line and they give you an equation, you can simply move the equation around into our format, y is equal to mx plus b, and then you will be able to find your slope. So here we have 5x plus 5y is equal to 5, but it's not in the correct format, so we need to isolate y. We can take away the 5x term from both sides, canceling, leaving us with 5y is equal to, and I'm going to start to build it in the correct format, -5x plus 5, but I'm not done yet because I haven't isolated y. I need to divide by 5 on both sides of the equation. And remember, when you divide by 5, you need to divide both terms by 5. So y is equal to -5x divided by 5, which will be -1x or -x, and 5 divided by 5 is a +1. So from this, we can now determine that the slope is a -1, and we can even determine that our y-intercept, it will cross the line, the y-axis, at a +1. Got a couple more practice questions that aren't in the book, but I like these ones. So you can pause the video and try, or you can work with me. We're going to take a look at this graph, and then we're going to determine y-intercept, slope, and equation. We can see y-intercept, That's where we're going to be crossing the y-axis. So that's right here indicated by the red point. So we can see that it's crossing at a positive 4 as we look upwards from the 0. So this is a positive 4. For the slope, we can calculate it. We can use that point, and we can use the point down here crossing the x-axis. So when we make our coordinates for our slope, we can see that we have a 0, 4 up top. And down below, we have a 1, 0. We're not moving up or down on the y. And then remember, we can then take our y values and subtract them, and our x values and subtract them. So we're going to take the 4 minus the 0 for our y values, and 0 minus 1 for our x values. Our slope will be 4 over negative 1, which is negative 4. And we can see that's true because we can see it's going downwards. So our slope is negative 4. Once we have the slope and we have the y-intercept, we have our equation. Y is equal to mx plus b. Y is equal to negative 4x, that's our slope. And plus 4 is our y-intercept, or our b. For this last question, it's multiple choice. Is the equation of this line A, B, C, or D? The first thing I try to do is start eliminating multiple choice answers. I can see that my master equation, y is equal to mx plus b, the y-intercept is where I look to first. I can see the y-intercept is a plus 3. So it's going to be a plus 3. You see how B and D have a minus 3? We can eliminate those right away. Now I take a look at my slope. My slope is going downwards, so it's going to be a negative slope. A and C both have a negative slope, so now we need to calculate slope in order to determine which one it is. I'm going to take my points. So for my first point that's in red up there, that's going to be a 0, 3. My second point I'm choosing on the x-axis, that's going to be a 3, 0. I subtract my y's over my x's, 3 minus 0 for my y's, over 0 minus 3 for my x's. That's going to be 3 over negative 3, and 3 divided by negative 3 is a negative 1. So my slope is a negative 1. My equation is negative x, or negative 1x, plus 3. I see that C is the correct line, or the correct equation of this line. Being able to read an equation, linear equation, and understand the parts of it really can help you to understand everything that we've done in this unit. And I hope that you found this video helpful.